And this is what we have going on today. It is one of these newer Lexus RX 350. And basically it had a nice side dent right here, and that was repaired. Now this is black, straight up black, no metallic. So if it was a metallic, I definitely would be blending into the front door, or even if the repair was much bigger, I would still be blending. But right here in this color, I believe the paint code might be 212. I gotta double check. We can get this to match pretty well. Now, I had a little cut through, burn through over in this area, so I just put some etch out of a spray can, and that works just fine for something like that. You can just go ahead and buzz over it with 600. There's no need to go ahead and 2K prime. So, what am I gonna be doing today? Well, today is just a little quick refresher course. We're gonna show you some tips and tricks along the way so you don't have to buff as much. Let's go ahead and get started. Now, the number one thing that you can do to help yourself prevent any dirt, and just because you got a spray booth doesn't mean you're not ever gonna get dirt. That's not true, guys. It's all in the preparation and the masking that will really help you out. So basically what you wanna do is you wanna have things sealed shut. So Juan, you're gonna back mask this here. All right, so he's gonna back mask this. This is 2-inch tape, right? So the good thing about the 2-inch tape is it's gonna overlap onto the quarter panel. So by having it overlap on a quarter panel, then we can basically tape this down. Now there's a couple ways to do this, but I like this way because it really seals. You just have to make sure that you don't get any of the tape on that leading edge here, because that can bridge, but we never really have that issue. Go ahead and close that one. All right, so you can see here how it's got about at least an inch, or in some areas more. That's no problem. But when you go to put it on, so go to put it on, but then pull it a little bit. So before you tape this side down, kind of get it here and then give it a little pull. Yeah, so that's gonna make it very taut here. Otherwise, there's gonna be a ripple here. And that ripple is gonna start to curve over onto this edge here. So show the folks at home one more time. You're gonna tape that side, but you're not gonna tape it to the panel yet. Give it a little pull. Okay. All right, there we go. These door handles are really funny. They're different now, so they don't actually open. Like you can't, they don't open like the old school. God, I said old school. They don't open anymore. So they're either unlocked or locked, and this doesn't, slide open anymore. So there's a button you hit, and the whole thing just moves open. So they weren't too bad to take out, though. So anyways, on this edge, there's a few different ways to do this. So since there is a rubber that comes all the way down here, basically what I'm going to do is put some 6-inch paper and tape going all the way down this, and make a line right here because you'll never see it because it's covered, and that's going to seal it up into this edge. And then on this door we'll put the 2-inch tape all the way down, and then that's going to seal it pretty good. If this was an exposed edge, like some don't have the rubber, then you can put some fine line there instead, or you can put the foam, but I don't like foam tape too much. The problem with foam tape is it gets all crusty and yucky sometimes. So even then, if this is an exposed edge, I still sink in a little bit of fine line right in the edge there of the 90, and it's never a problem. I don't like the fuzziness, and sometimes the clear coat will get behind that edge still and make it look yucky. So at least if you have a fine line edge, it all looks pretty good, to be honest. So we'll go ahead and get that all masked up, and then here we'll 2-inch it. So with the paper and the tape, when you have paper against paper or paper against tape, it's going to create a nice edge. Now we couldn't put paper in here because it'll be too bunchy and it could overlap. So you got to have something a little bit more firm here. And we'll go ahead and just close it. That's it. And then we'll tape a little bit here. Now one thing I like to do is a lot of overspray gets here. So what we do is we take the tape and we'll half it so that no overspray really gets through. So you're gonna tape that tape down. It's an extra step, but a lot of time this overspray, it finds a way everywhere, and it'll find a way onto these moldings. So if you just tape that off, it really would help out. Obviously, honestly too, it helps when you go to mask with the plastic, so it doesn't get all attached and everything. So maybe a little piece there. All right, so let's pull the plastic, and this is gonna be a nice job. How you feeling about it?
Pretty good.
Feeling good about it? Yeah, I'm feeling pretty good about it too. The number one question I get on plastic is my paint is flaking off the plastic. That's either because you're using like a Walmart plastic or you're not using it correctly. You can see here it says paint this side, right? One of this is treated. One side is treated, the other is not. So this side is treated so that the overspray sticks to it. Now, one thing that sometimes 3M messes up on, and it's happened more than one time. You can see this arrow here. This is the arrow, the direction which we're supposed to, feed it on top of the car. But you gotta double check it because sometimes it's in the box wrong. That's happened more than once. But the last 4 or 5 boxes have been pretty good. About 10 before then, we had about a 50% ratio of correct to not correct. So we'll go ahead and pull it on over. Now, we don't have a fancy downdraft here, but I'm gonna show you a taping method that is going to hold the plastic tight to the car and get you a much cleaner. Wait. How many people have done this before? Don't put the plastic on. Let me check the paint code. 212. Guys, if this was like a really tough color, I would already have the spray out done. But there's been times where, the car is all messed up, and I'm not sure if it's like 829 or 830, or if it's one of the metallics. So that does happen from time to time. That's only because we know the colors already, but we weren't sure if it was 829 or 830, or if it's 883 or NH603, you know that deal. Anyways, let's show them a little trick here. So we're gonna pull the plastic, right? And yes, I am in shorts. Look at my shirt. I think it's like 95 degrees in the paint booth, and it's like 7 p.m. I'm gonna have sticky legs tonight. I don't care, as long as my paint is clean. So we're gonna go ahead and pull it over. And once we get it pulled over, we're not gonna tape anything yet. We're gonna get it all the way pulled over. I think this one's gonna bag up really nice. So I'm gonna take my corner, right? And what I'm gonna do with my corner is get it all wound up. And so Juan's gonna do the same thing. I'm gonna get it all wound up. And we're gonna act like we have a downdraft. And you can do this in your home garage. So I'm gonna twirl it around. I'm gonna make a knot, all right? And then I'm gonna connect here. A lot of guys will just take it all here and make one big knot. Don't do that. Don't do that. Not good. Not good. It's gonna flop all over the place. I'm gonna show you what this looks like when it's done. It looks beautiful. So then we take the excess here, right? We're gonna make our knot here like you traditionally would, but there's not gonna be that much attached. And then I'll just attach this here, and I'll tie that so we have it nice and tight. That works. So we have it coming from 3 different directions individually, and that's going to make sure it's nice and tight. Now let's go over to the front. Now you always want to cut the front. A lot of guys just leave it on there. When you leave it on there, it just bunches it up and air gets underneath it. So you see how it's kind of tight in the back here, but here it's all wonky and bubbly. You got to cut the front. When you cut the front, this is what you can do with the front. Let me show you what happens to the car. I'm gonna let you see the side of the car. Watch what happens. So now I'm gonna do that same thing here. I'm gonna tie it all up and watch. I can pull it tight. See how I pulled it tight? And I'm gonna make that same type of knot. I'm gonna do that at the front. All right. This is all in the motion of getting a clean paint job. Like, it's not just praying that you're gonna get a clean paint job. And then we're gonna tie it in the front again. So you're gonna take that one, take mine. If they're too, if they don't reach, then just you can tape them together. You could have cut it a little bit longer. And basically what that's gonna do is it's gonna pull the plastic, it's gonna encapsulate the car. So by doing that, what we're doing is we're creating a nice cocoon around the car, and we're not allowing any dust or air to get into the actual paint job, which is pretty good. And then find a spot to tape it. Luckily, there's a brand new car, right? So the tape is gonna stick. If you ever go one of those older cars, or at least a year old, tape does not stick. But this definitely does work, because what I've done here is I've actually taped to the bottom, to the back of the wheel, and we have a nice wrap here. This is essential, guys. So I just want you guys to keep that in mind. So we have a back mast area. Just go like this now. And basically we're gonna be cutting it out. So we're gonna cut along the dotted line, if you will, and then we'll retape it. And this one's ready for paint. Yeah, this is 2.5. God, I'm sweating. If I sweat over you, I'm really sorry. All right, so you started cutting the bottom. All right, just grab the top here.
I got the top ready.
You already got the top? All right. All right. All right, go on. That must be a dull razor. That razor's on its last cut. Yeah, we're just gonna tape this down. Now, the best thing to do when taping is to try to use one consecutive piece of tape. That's the length of the of what you're taping. Because if you have any gaps in the tape, like if you have any pieces that are like connected, that can introduce dirt. Can you understand me? Okay. See what I'm saying? So one long piece of tape, right? If you had two here, that's potential for dirt to build up. These are little things that really could help you out. One. I gotta change my shirt. It's too hot.
It's really bad.
Finish it up with them. I'll be right back.
Alrighty. Brian's gonna go change his shirt. And Brian's back. And in about 10 minutes, he's gonna have to go change his shirt again because he's gonna get sweaty again. Alrighty.
Oh, brand new shirt.
Welcome
I
back.
can't change it anymore because that was the last one in there. I think someone's been stealing my shirts. All right, we're looking pretty good here, Juan. What do you think?
Pretty good. I'm dying. It's hot.
Yeah,
but it's okay.
Yeah, pretty nice. Yeah, okay. I think we need to clean it down, and I need to show them those cool little microfibers that I've got from Walmart. You can get them on Amazon, I think. Man, they're game changer. And the next part to get a clean paint job, I discovered something new. One thing I really want you guys to get away from, if you can, is stop using towels like this. They just don't absorb enough. They're not bad, but I'm telling you, these towels, I learned this from the Candyman. He started using these when I went over to his shop. You can get these at Walmart, guys, or even on Amazon. I'll put a link. They're paper towels. I've never seen anything like this. They're microfiber paper towels. So basically, you can tear them off. And they're good for a few tries, you know, and then you don't have to worry about throwing them in the garbage because you spent a lot of money on a paper towel. But you definitely want to try to get something like this because they're absorbent. And what does something like this do? It pulls the dust and everything off of the panel. And it's very, very, very important. So there's two different cleaners that you guys need to use. That first cleaner that you can use is a water-based cleaner. This is for like industrial fallout or handprints. Like I got a big fat handprint right here. Anything like that. Solvent-based prep oil cleaners are not going to remove what water-based cleaners use. Now, this is equivalent to spray-away glass cleaner. It doesn't have any added scents to it. It's ammonia-free, which is good. So you know that you're going to get a bare-bones cleaner. So the way you should do it is, you know, wipe off, you know, back and forth. Don't go up and down. Just try to wipe the actual contaminants off of the surface, and then what that's going to do is give you a cleaner job. Next up, we're going to be using a solvent-based cleaner, and this is going to remove grease and oils, things that might have been on your fingerprints when you were working on the car, or if a mechanic or someone else worked on the car. Now, the one thing you need to do is you need to make sure when you're using this cleaner or any cleaner is always wipe the blend area first, because you don't want to bring any of the residue or contaminants from the primered area up into the blend area. The blend area is basically going to be only where there's clear on clear and no color to save you from any of the residues. Did you know one simple tip that you can do is once the paint is mixed up, all you have to do is reduce your base coat by 10% more. So guys at home, you can do this as well. Once you have the proper mixture of your base coat, this is 2-to-1, you're going to add 10% more of the total mix. So if you have, let's say 10 ounces, 10% of 10 ounces is 1 more ounce. This is really going to help your base coat smooth out, because remember, a smoother base is going to be a smoother clear coat job. Now, previous to getting the car all masked up, we're using the Like 90 particle control. We put it into a pump sprayer, and I like to apply this before every paint job, or at least in the beginning of the day. Now, this and the pig mat really does help to keep the dust down. Now, we're due for a change in our pig mat, but it really does help, especially for your do-it-yourselfers. Now, I'm going to be using a tack rag, and I'll always tack before I base coat, and then once more I'll tack before the clear coat. We're going to go ahead and apply one coat, and since we used our black primer, we got great coverage with just one coat only. So we pretty much covered up all this gray edge and the black in one coat, but you might need two. Now, this next little tip or trick is really going to help you out a lot. A lot of guys in professional spray booths might not need to do this as often, but if they do it, it's really going to ensure a clean job. Guys at home spraying in your garage, I recommend it every single time. What is it? Basically, all you're going to need to do is get yourself this cheap Eagle Abrasives hand pad. That is the cushion interface pad right there. And then you're going to get yourself some K600 sandpaper. Now, I'll put everything in the Amazon link. Now, you would use K600 on a solid and K800, let's say on a metallic, or even K1000 lime on a metallic as well if you're concerned with sand scratching. But the K600, we'll use it and we'll be just fine. It comes in these sheets just like this. You can see that right here. So very important. You technically don't need to do it, but it will help you out. And I'm gonna do it right here on the panel. I'll show you the results and how to do it. And when you do this, just remember one thing, guys. You must always apply one coat of paint over this sanded surface. So I like to do this once I have proper 100% coverage. Then from there, I'll give it a light sand and then about one coat, maybe 1.5. But you don't want to do this at the very beginning. You want to make sure you get your coverage first. So let's head in there. I'll show you real quick. Now guys, this is one of the simplest but most effective methods to get a clean paint job. If you just go ahead and use this K600, all you've got to do is lightly scratch the surface. And what this is going to do is remove any dirt or debris from those initial 1 or 2 coats. Now, I didn't really have any to speak of, but guys in your garage, you might have dust that is piled up in those 2 or 3 coats. And from this point, what you're gonna do is you can sand it down, tack it off, and then apply only maybe 1.5 coats. And you're not gonna have that much dust in that 1.5 coats than you would in those 2 or 3 coats that it took to initially cover. From here, it's just gonna take 1 coat, and we're using that extra 10% reducer in the base coat. It really helps things smooth out. So right here, after it's dried off, we're ready for its clear coat. Now we put about 10 minutes between the base and the clear coat, but you can put a little bit more to allow it to flash off. And my first coat is going to be pretty much medium wet. I want it nice and shiny. I want a 75% overlap. I don't want any dry spots completely because we still need to build the mills. And after the first coat, that's what it looks like, nice and shiny. But I will tell you something, guys. Allow that first coat to really 15 minutes flash time, because any little dust or dirt nib that you might have, we want to create a surface that we can lay another coat on top that does not melt right into and sink into the original ones. So if we have that nice surface that the second coat can go on top and build up a little bit, then we can get a cleaner finish. Don't go right into it right away, because then you can't have as clean a finish as this. Equipped with our Segola DVR Air Cap, our 4600 Extreme, we are going to lay down that second coat much slower. Now don't be scared. This is a Select Clear 4.0, and it is a very thick clear. So wherever you put it, it's going to stay. And that's what I love about this clear, because it holds its gloss. That's UTech 4.0 Select Clear. So you can see I'm really laying it on, but I'm not too worried, because that first coat, it's got that stickiness like the back side of a piece of tape, yet it's cured enough so when we lay on this second coat, we can build up over any piece of small lint or debris that has fallen in the paint, or if we didn't initially get in the second coat, we can really get a nice finish. Now make sure if you're going to put a third on that you wait at least double the flash time between the first and the second. All right, and after that second coat, guys, we're about 15 minutes after the second coat, and check this out. It looks fantastic. I'm really liking the way it's looking. This is a beautiful job right here. Now, you don't want to push it too much, but let's say you have some dirt and you want to go ahead and put another coat on. I want you to extend your flash time, double it up. Give yourself maybe 20 minutes between that second and third rather than the 10 minutes. You got a lot of material on that panel, and you don't want to keep soaking it up, because you could run into solvent pop and a dieback, which is a loss of gloss, and you don't want that. So just give these materials the proper time. What we're going to do is we're going to let this dry. We'll come back the next day and we'll check it out. Well, I'm back here the next morning, and there's always that concern when you walk into the spray booth. what's it gonna look like? It looked fantastic when we were done, but then sometimes you come back in, there'll be solvent pop, it'll shrink, it'll actually shrink. So what will happen is, so if you had something that looked perfect, right, really good, it shrinks, everything kind of cringes up a little bit, and then exposes the dirt that you tried to flood over. Well, basically that's gonna happen if you're using a cheap product, right? Something that looks good and then a day later or two, it just completely dies back. And if you're putting way too many coats on, and if you didn't originally have that base coat smooth to begin with, like let's say you didn't use a tip or trick of doing that sanding, sometimes the clear will shrink, it will really level down, and then it will expose once again the little dirt that you had. So right here, I'm looking at it, guys, and this thing looks fantastic. Let's take a closer look. Now, the whole point of what I do is to not tell you I'm the best, I can do everything. It's to show you how to get results like this. Now, is it perfect? No. Every job might have a little dust nip here and there, and that's perfectly fine. That's easy to buff out. But what we don't want to have to do is sand the whole entire panel and buff on black. And that's exactly the whole point of this video, is to get away from that. So if we have a little tiny nugget like we do right in here, there's a little nugget right there. Right? And a little one right there. That's not a problem at all. We can go ahead and take those out nice and easy. So if you can minimize really your whole buffing, then you're doing a great job, because now that buffing is only gonna take me about less than 10 minutes, and then I'm gonna be good. Let's go ahead and unmask the rest of this and let's see how it looks like. And here's what it's looking like after it's been all unmasked. So you can see here how nice that peel is. If you can try to pick it up, look at the orange peel here, factory, look at orange peel here. So that's what we're looking for. You never want anything to really be completely flat. You can see the orange peel here, orange peel here, orange peel here, orange peel here. It's completely the same. If you have something that is completely flat, it's gonna show. So this is not one of those jobs where you want to do your best job. This isn't a show car, but you want to make sure you have that same peel. Look at the peel here. See the peel here? See the peel here? This car looks like it's going to be completely untouched once I remove those couple of dust nibs. You'll never even know. Look at the peel. Look at the peel. It's 100% the same. So yeah, so sometimes like people are like, oh, I'm going to make sure it looks beautiful, it looks flat. That's not what we're trying to do. We're trying to make this car look like it's never been touched. You don't want to show that you've been here before. You don't want to have the best panel on the car. All right, leave that for the show cars. Okay, we need to match texture here, and that's exactly what we did. So my intention with this video is to know what you learned. So let me know down in the comments if there's something that you learned that you didn't know. I want to know so I can continue to make even better videos. Hey guys, this is Brian from Paint Society reminding you, don't overthink it. It's just paint. I'll see you guys on the next episode.